Welcome to the Baseball Insiders. I am Adam Weinrib, joined as always by fan-sided MLB insider Robert Murray, and I know some of you will have some apologizing to do regarding the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles in the comment section today. We look forward to it. We'll post all of them. It looks like an Eagles fan on this podcast, plus me, who accurately predicted that the Eagles would win the Super Bowl, are owed an apology by some of you. But we're also here to talk baseball because the end of the Super Bowl, the final whistle, means it's baseball season. That final whistle, I don't even remember it because the score was something like 52-1. But apparently the game did end with a whistle. They all shook hands, and that means it's spring training. Pitchers and catchers are reporting. Some position players are showing up already for some reason. Cody Bellinger's the Yankees camp. Don't know what they're up to, but good to see people doing stuff, baseball stuff, live in action on the field. We still got to talk about some players who have yet to land. Some business that still has to be attended to as spring training approaches. You know, that whole third base thing in New York, the Nolan Arenado question, Marcus Stroman's weird reporting, one huge free agent still on the map, and one who announced his next destination, which looked a lot like his last destination just before the Super Bowl kicked off. But luckily, I don't have to sort this out myself. I can go to Robert Murray, who is here with us to help us through all of the information we need to know ahead of spring training official report dates. Robert, how you doing, man?
I could not be better. The Eagles winning the Super Bowl yesterday. That was about as least stressful of a football game as I can recall, although I was still stressed for the first three quarters because I was expecting Mahomes to do what Mahomes does. But when it was 40-6, I was feeling pretty confident that the Eagles had that one in the bag. But yeah, I'm excited about that. I'm excited to talk some baseball today. We got some stuff on Alex Bregman. I got lots of other stuff going on with free agency as well. We also got pitchers and catchers reporting here in a little bit. Very exciting stuff. I cannot wait for that. I wish this was the Football Insiders for a day because I could talk about the Eagles for about 5 hours. But alas, this is the Baseball Insiders. Let's dive into baseball. Adam, how you doing? Go Birds. Happy Victory Monday.
I'm good. Go Birds. I root for a Eagles rival, and I've literally never felt more disconnected to the It doesn't feel like a rivalry at this point. I kind of forgot that that's a team I grew up hating. Really likable team, beat the bejesus out of the Chiefs, and the Giants are not even in the NFL at this point. So hard to be upset. In fact, feeling pretty good on this beautiful morning. The Eagles have won 2 Super Bowls in recent years, relatively recent. They've destroyed the Chiefs semi-dynasty and the Patriots dynasty. So kind of exciting to see them take down the evil empire twice. But yes, it is baseball season, and every time we talk about the Super Bowl or any football for any length of time, the comments start saying, shut up and talk about baseball. We get it. We understand. If you want to talk baseball with us or get to the bottom of how Robert spent his Super Bowl, hit us up in the Discord. Join us either at the All-Star tier or the Rumor Mill tier. All-Star tier has priority responses in this chat, as well as a private Q&A set up on a recurring rotating schedule. I'll be there answering questions as well. We really appreciate everybody in the Discord. We see some of you, as we always do, in the comments. Go ahead and subscribe to the Moonshot. That's our weekly baseball email newsletter where the fan-sided MLB team, including Robert Murray, break down all the biggest stories in the big leagues with humor, insight, and behind-the-scenes info. You can also find our work on the Baseball Insiders feed on fansided.com. That's fansided.com/baseball-insiders. If you didn't get enough from the show, you want to read more of Robert's work, you want to read me, you want to read the rest of the fan-sided MLB staff writer team, that is where you do it. There might even be some Super Bowl crossover there. In fact, I believe that there is. Hey, Robert, how do you think Alex Bregman spent his Super Bowl? Do you think he enjoyed chips and salsa and just sort of absentmindedly scrolled a couple of times, hoping maybe for some texts that he did or did not receive? Is he planning to land at a new destination? Is he getting his housing set? Is he renting an Airbnb? Maybe. Is he getting ready for a new spring training venture, trying to figure out whether he's going to be in Arizona or Florida? Pretty stress-free game, but probably kind of a stressful day for Alex Bregman, who, for all intents and purposes, seems to be ready to move on from the Houston Astros. There was even a Buster-only report today saying it's the Red Sox, Cubs, or Tigers. Even the Houston folks don't think he's coming back to Houston. We did a show about 2 weeks ago saying the opposite, where I started to wonder, hey, is this all setting up for an awkward homecoming? Feels like the opposite. So what do you got for me on the biggest name left on the free agent market right now?
Yeah, with Bregman last week, it seemed, at least publicly with the kind of things that were being said, that it could end up coming that week. But checking behind the scenes, nothing was really close with Bregman, that there was no real movement whatsoever. And he still seeks a long-term contract. But at this point of the offseason, I am pretty skeptical that he'll ultimately end up getting it. And if you look at the Tigers, if you look at the Cubs, you look at the Red Sox, you look at some of these other teams that could possibly be involved here. I don't think they're going to be in a hurry to give him that long-term offer. And signing a short-term deal that allows him to get to free agency again next offseason could ultimately be the best move here for a guy like Bregman. But I still don't know if we have a definitive favorite at this point. I would imagine it'll probably come down to one of those three teams. There is a bunch of buzz about the Blue Jays and Bregman at some points throughout the offseason, especially in the last couple of weeks. But I never really – that was not something I had really heard on my end. And we saw Ross Atkins say late last week that the rest of the Blue Jays moves this offseason are probably to come over the trade market, which would seem to – I don't want to say eliminate them from the Bregman sweepstakes, but kind of throw some cold water on their validity or their chances in that sweepstakes. So I'm looking at one of those three teams for Bregman. And then once he ends up signing here, I would expect a flurry of other moves. But also that being said, with pitchers and catchers reporting here in a little bit, I would absolutely anticipate a decent bit of movement because there's going to be some players who are motivated to go into spring training right away, to be coming in on time and not miss any time because they don't want to be behind the 8 ball come opening day. So we could see some movement or a decent amount of movement at some point this week. And maybe, just maybe, that could include Alex Bregman.
Yeah, we see your chats. There are a lot of unsettled pieces of business as we get closer to pitchers and catchers reporting. So close, you could taste it. It's tomorrow in many cases. Position players are already filtering in. Business has to get done, which Alex Bregman can keep weighing his options, right? He can potentially wait until something satisfies him or satisfies him enough that he realizes, okay, now I need to commit to something. But I have my eyes on plenty of things that are sort of more uncomfortable and have genuine ticking clocks. If Alex Bregman doesn't want to sign until March 12th, he doesn't have to. But last show, we talked about how awkward it would be for Marcus Stroman to report the Yankees camp after Brian Cashman admitted that the defense failed him last year, but also he wiped his whole social media of any mentions of the Yankees and unfollowed them. If Nolan Arenado reports to camp after being the Cardinals' trade plan A, B, and C, that would be weird. So any new insight on maybe some awkward report date drama, some players who teams would rather not show up to camp in a timely fashion? Anything else coming down to the wire before all of these camps open and managers and players have to talk about, well, we tried. Hey, water under the bridge. Nothing got done. Oh, well, now we move forward.
I would anticipate there being more awkwardness for a guy like Stroman rather than Arenado. And Stroman, he signed there last year, and obviously, like I've made it clear, I didn't think that was the greatest fit in the entire world, and that was a signing that had really surprised me. But with Stroman finding out that he was on the trade market or that he's being shopped, he unfollowed the Yankees a while ago, much longer than people had realized. And I would imagine, based on that, there's definitely some hurt feelings. And I don't know what the conversations have looked like behind closed doors, but I would imagine there's going to be some awkwardness when he eventually shows up. So that's absolutely something that I'm watching. I also still don't think we're out of the woods here as far as a Stroman trade goes. I still think that's possible, but I don't know how many teams are going to be in a hurry to take on that contract, especially with the option for a third year looming. That's a real obstacle when it comes to a potential Stroman trade. That's brought some pause here. But as with Arenado, those two sides were in lockstep on a possible trade, and like they were both sides communicated. And Arenado even realizes like he doesn't have to accept the trade because he's got a really good situation in St. Louis with the Cardinals. And I mean, they're probably not going to contend this year, but it's a historic franchise, and they have there's good leadership in place there. Like Ali Marmol is respected. And he knows he's going to get consistent at bats there in St. Louis. So I don't think that's going to be necessarily the most awkward thing in the entire world. But the thing that they do have in common is both players are going to continue to be shopped. I mean, you kind of have to continue shopping a guy when you say he's plan A, B, C, and D is to trade him. But no movement there from what I've gathered. And especially for a guy like Arenado, I don't anticipate there being movement until Bregman comes off the board. And whatever that is, again, maybe that could end up being this week. But he's going to be on standby until that happens.
Yeah, the Red Sox, we know it was reported again last week, but we knew it intuitively anyway, that they still think they're in the Bregman chase and they would like Bregman to choose them. And in that, in that vein, they don't plan on taking the Arenado talks over the finish line until they have finality there, whether it's positive or negative. A lot of people have rightly compared the Red Sox and Bregman to the Red Sox and JD Martinez, waiting it out in 2018, and then finally settling on something that worked. The Red Sox front office is split on Bregman. So are the Cubs. So are the Bregman and the Tigers don't seem to have come to an accord. There's no perfect situation here. So plenty of things hinge on Alex Bregman. Eventually, finding a landing spot in Nolan Arenado is for sure one of them. And if Bregman were looking for a short-term solution at any point, the Red Sox would be a pretty good one for him to maybe boost his value. I don't remember who compared to him. Yeah. I'm gonna keep monologuing. Something weird's going on.
Yeah, my laptop was on the verge of dying, and I thought it was plugged in, but it was barely hanging on by the plug over there. So my apologies for getting up in the middle of you speaking, but I did not want my laptop to die.
No, you guys see that? You guys got to see a cool little dance or what?
Yeah, I didn't know what to do there. I'm just lucky I'm wearing pants.
Yeah, absolutely. We both are. I hope all of you viewers and listeners are also wearing pants at this juncture. But yeah, I mean, as a commenter noted, Bregman could juice his numbers with a big 1 year at Fenway if he finally wants to take that plunge. And there was a comparison online between Bregman and the 1 year of Adrian Beltre at Fenway in 2010, which that does feel like an apt comparison to me. Beltre put up like 8 WAR. I don't know if Bregman is still capable of that, but the numbers would definitely be inflated if he got that wall at his disposal. And yeah, the comments are still pretty focused on what you just saw. And I get it. I understand.
I'm getting absolutely roasted.
It's really hard to start talking about Alex Bregman again after we just got that little bit of glory.
That's on me. I put Adam in a really impossible situation there. I got to be a better teammate than that. But
but that kind of looked like a hesitant Bregman, dancing between different offers. Like, ooh, do I want, hot button? Should I land with the Cubs, or do I want to go over here to the outlet and plug myself in? Juice myself up and join the Boston Red Sox and take aim at the Green Monster.
No, that's a great comparison. I don't know how you ended up just doing that, but I'm mad impressed that you ended up somehow spinning that into that. So we'll see what it comes down to, or what ends up happening here with a guy like Bregman. But I'm ready for that sweepstakes to be over. But one thing we do know about Scott Boras, his agent, is he is not afraid of waiting things out. And while I do think it is possible that it could be this week, you never really know with Boras because he is very comfortable waiting, and we'll see. What did Bob report about Bregman? I don't know what Hunter's teasing there.
I don't actually either, but Hunter hit us up. Hey, look, let us know. I did not see any lies, but if you give us the info, we'll be happy to comment on it. All I can say is it's unfortunate that plugging in your laptop was not your plan A, B, and C before this podcast, but hey, who knows? We got there, we landed. We got a good question in the Discord that I was going to bring up anyway, and feels like pertinent information to talk about here, because a lot of maneuvers are going to go down, and there are some comments about the bullpen waterfall and sort of the dominoes that could fall as soon as camp's officially open. Some players, it's felt like all along, have been waiting for 60-day IL spots to open up. We all knew Kike Hernandez was in that bucket, and it was more than likely he was going to wind up back with the Dodgers. But yesterday, he gets ahead of things. He self-announces, which is apparently what the Dodgers do. Ohtani did it. We got it from Roki Sasaki. We get it from Kike. The Dodgers had these pre-produced Instagram videos. Teoscar did it, although it was not, quite as high concept. Teoscar just had I think a black screen and he typed "I'm back," so it wasn't a hype video. But yeah. Kike gets ahead of it. The 60-day IL spots are opening up now, and some more business probably going to get done. So my question is, those officially open up when pitchers and catchers report, I believe, or when players report. Is anybody else? Do you know of anything else that maybe is contingent upon these mechanics? These spring training mechanics opening up a roster spot. Should we expect maybe a mini flurry in the coming days?
It's a good question. I'll start with Kike Hernandez. And as you said, it was pretty inevitable that he was going to end up returning to the Dodgers. He he's someone that organization really values, both what he brings on the field, but also what he brings in the locker room and the leadership that he brings, and just the spark and the energy and everything that comes with Kike Hernandez. He is an incredibly valuable part of that Dodgers roster. And you see the Shohei Otanis, you see the Blake Snells, you see the Teoscar Hernandezes, the Freddie Freemans, the Mookie Bettses, all of them. There's so many different layers to that organization, and star power, I should say, but the leadership that he brings is invaluable. And now, as far as the Dodgers go, it's pretty clear what their next move is going to end up being. It's going to probably be Clayton Kershaw. I'd be stunned if he does not return. It just seems inevitable that he'll return to the Dodgers and be back for another season. Whether or not he plays another season after that remains to be seen. But Kike was the first real obvious domino, and now it's going to be Kershaw. And once Kershaw's done, that roster is going to be pretty much set. As far as the remaining free agency goes and whether or not we're going to have a flurry, I would anticipate a small little flurry here. There's a couple things that I'm waiting on the go texts, as I like to say, which is always fun. There's been a couple that I've been sitting on since like Friday, which is always fun. They've not gotten released yet, so that's fun. So we'll see if we get them, but hopefully we can break them on the Baseball Insiders whenever those become official. So
you hit us with the Gavin Sheets yesterday. That was Super Bowl Sunday, right? I'm losing track of time. That wasn't Saturday, right?
No, that was yesterday, because I remember I found that out. I thought he was going to a different team, and all of a sudden it was like, nope, Padres. And I'm like, oh, all right, well that works. But no, that was a nice little depth signing for the Padres. And I know there's questions in here from some Padres fans, and I saw Drew ask for Padres news or Padres updates. I would anticipate the rest of the Padres' moves to be very similar to the Jason Haywards and the Connor Joes and something like that. They're not going to be breaking the bank unless, something changes here. But like the guys that they go for on the pitching market, or maybe even another offensive move, I'd expect them to be in that same price range. And doing those kind of moves also, as I mentioned on a previous show, would further bolster the chances that both Dylan Cease and Michael King stay. As I said, I would be flat out stunned if King is traded. They have not engaged on King. And Cease, I think he's increasingly likely to stay in San Diego, at least through opening day.
It's funny, we waited months for Padres moves, and then in like a 2-day span, they make 3 pretty interesting depth moves and address left field with a low ceiling but high floor platoon and some good veteran leadership and a local guy in Connor Joe. You always like to see those local moves. So yeah, fun to have that little Padres flurry. Hopefully we get some additionals as we get even closer to report date. And now I see what you folks meant, you Chicago folks on the Bob Nightingale thing, saying, he said the Cubs weren't willing to go over 3 years, but that there's a 4-year deal on the table. Not to put motor oil in your cereal, but do we have legit reporting that there's a 4-year Cubs deal, or do we just is that just the reporting that Cubs fans like to see because it means that they're likelier to get Alex Bregman? Like, I haven't seen that substantiated. I saw the first source saying the Cubs have this 4-year offer on the table, but I haven't seen that backed up. So I don't know. I don't know if we can just agree with certain reports that we like and disagree with other ones that we don't. It all seems like it's sort of up in the air right now.
Yeah, it's definitely up in the air, and I haven't gotten it confirmed one way or another. But I would wait for either a beat writer or one of the national reporters to confirm that, because one thing we've learned about through the offseason is there's usually a lot of fake reporting out there. I don't know who reported the 4-year thing for the Cubs. I'm not trying to make them look bad. But I don't think it's come from a credible source quite yet. So I would wait and see on that. Don't believe everything that you read. But yeah, there's still a ways to go here for a guy like Bregman.
But we appreciate your commentary, and we'll keep an eye on Bregman as the week goes on. Let's get to a couple of questions. Again, we will be back Wednesday afternoon, 1:00, Friday afternoon, 3:30. 3 shows this week, triple shows, off season of shows. Very exciting. We had an early super chat. First of all, we had an early super chat from our friend Gresham 5, who said birds stay up. So shout out to Gresham 5. Hope you're having a good day. And the Philadelphia Eagles are the Super Bowl champions, and they will be for another 365 days or so. So hell yeah to that.
Go Birds.
Can't believe I'm pro that, but I am. And we addressed the Jays a little bit early in the show, just saying, hey, not sure if that Bregman smoke and the larger Jays offer is something that we believe is legit, but obviously we'll keep our eyes on Bregman and keep you posted, everyone else posted, if we get any more Jays Connects. Ross Atkins saying lower tier trade market moves for the remainder of the offseason. So maybe we're just about done here. We did get one from Jonathan Corona as well, asking about the Angels and a couple other Angels questions regarding, hey, the bullpen at one point. There was a mention that, hey, Artie and company and Perry were maybe looking for 2 more arms. And someone was saying, hey, is that off the table? This is asking about, the Angels maybe looking in the outfield market. Are they done with pitchers? I would say I think it's too soon, just from my perspective, to say, oh, they're not going to go ahead and address the bullpen, considering how many bullpen arms are still on the market and how many have to move in the coming weeks to get ready for opening day. But yeah, anything you're hearing about the Angels in particular, I would doubt that just because they haven't made significant bullpen moves yet, that they're not going to as this late, rally comes off the board. David Robertson, Kyle Finnegan, Kenley Jansen, so many big names.
Yeah, the Angels remain active in the bullpen market, from what I'm told. They have made calls in recent days looking for some different guys. So I would absolutely anticipate them making additions, plural, in that area of the roster. So bullpen is definitely a priority for the Angels. Getting a guy like Yoan Moncada was also a priority for them. The Cubs were also involved on Moncada, but ultimately the Angels ended up winning out there, and that's good insurance for a guy like Anthony Rendon, because you never really know exactly what you're going to get from him. But so getting Moncada was a priority. They have had conversations at various points this offseason with a guy like Alex Verdugo. So those are some different things that I've heard regarding the Angels. I don't know if anything is imminent by any means, but I would be really surprised if they were done, because I anticipate them continuing to look for some different additions here on the roster.
And even if you're a team with a budget at this point, there are plenty of options that fit within your budget. As Cheddar, our friend, just noted, I mean, even OMG coming back to the Mets, Jose Iglesias needs a landing spot. That can't be too expensive an addition, and was one that changed the game for the New York Mets last year, along with, a lot of things going right. But Jose Iglesias was a catalyst, no doubt. I'm curious about his market. I wonder where he lands. I saw a Mariners projection earlier last week. Look, I have no idea, but the New York Yankees could use an infielder. Anything you're hearing on Iglesias' market, Mets or otherwise?
I have not heard a peep. That's a guy that I have not heard a single thing about. He was a big spark plug for the Mets last year. Like, he's a very good player. But I can't say I've necessarily heard anything on his market there. So sorry for the lack of an update there, but that is what I've got.
Do appreciate the question as always, though. Tyler Zelkowski, who I believe I recognize from the Discord, wants to know about any markets for veterans like Justin Turner or Lance Lynn. And I suspect he's asking this because the Athletic connected Lance Lynn to the Pirates as a closer this weekend. Ken Rosenthal rang the bell for that as well, of, hey, position change could be in order for Lynn as his career winds down. Curious what you're hearing about their markets.
Yeah, Lynn, the fact that he's open to moving to the closer role would seem to suggest he probably does not have a very strong market as a starting pitcher, which, that's not, I guess, surprising at this stage of his career. He's obviously a veteran guy, but moving him to the bullpen could end up prolonging his career and allow him to be more impactful. So I could absolutely see that being an option here. I don't know about a team like the Pirates. I can't say that's something I've heard, but I can ask and check. But with Turner, I thought a return to the Mariners made some sense there. There was some interest at the start of the offseason, but with them getting Polanco back, I don't necessarily know if they have the funds to go do that, or necessarily the need to go out and do that. So Turner's market to me is a mystery. I don't know. Part of me wonders if he could end up entertaining a return to, I don't know, say the Mets, but I don't know if that's the most likely thing in the world either. The Yankees, they do need an infielder, but would he go over to the Yankees? I don't know. I don't know. There's just a lot of uncertainty with a lot of these veteran players. And with that uncertainty, it's going to lead to some anxiousness as the offseason wears on, or especially as spring training gets here. So we could see some of these veteran guys take lesser deals. I don't think Turner's going to be a guy like that, or Lynn, but I think some other players are going to be candidates there for sure.
Yeah, you got to wonder if Justin Turner would shave to join the New York Yankees, and just how bizarre and ghastly that would look. I actually don't even want to find out, really. He's a good fit for the roster, but just in terms of his look and vibe, a terrible fit for what the New York Yankees do.
Yeah, it could not be a worse fit in terms of the facial hair stuff. Because Justin Turner without a beard, I don't know if that's possible. RG, you are an absolute lad. We appreciate you. We'll. I don't need any beers for quite a while after the Super Bowl yesterday, but I will absolutely take you up on that at some point. Maybe. Well, tomorrow is my birthday, so I guess. Yeah, I guess I could use that for a birthday beer.
The Cooper DeJean and Saquon Barkley of doing podcasts close to your birthday. I didn't even know.
Hey, there you go. Actually, here's a fun little story for you guys. So. This is football talk, so I apologize, but I want to put this on the record.
Yeah, everybody log off. You don't want to hear about football talk, you can get out of here.
So when the NFL draft was getting here, my best friend Max, he flew out here to come watch it with me, and he knew I wanted a dog, specifically a golden retriever, and I told him that if the Eagles drafted Cooper DeJean, that I would name my dog Cooper. So the Eagles got Quinyon Mitchell in the first round. I'm thinking, okay, this is not happening. And then somehow Cooper DeJean lingers to the second round. Eagles trade up and go and get him. And now I have a golden retriever named Cooper, thanks to Cooper DeJean. He scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl yesterday. Did not put on any prop bets on Cooper DeJean to score a touchdown, which that was kind of a huge mistake in hindsight. But anyways, that is why I named him Cooper. And Cooper DeJean, I love you with all my heart. Go Birds. Go Iowa. Just go Birds and go Cooper.
That guy's good. Cooper the dog, also good. A lot of good Coopers in the Baseball Insiders universe, and we appreciate that the good boys' arrival, and I'm referring to both Cooper the dog and Cooper DeJean. Appreciate everyone's comments. Got a bunch of people chattering about Nick Pivetta, who, again, don't want to get lost in the sauce or the shuffle. Still, the lesser discussed qualifying offer free agent remains on the market. Any thoughts on his potential suitors as we get closer and closer? Bregman can wait as long as he wants. He can get into game shape pretty quickly. These pitchers have to figure this out sooner rather than later. We saw what happened with Jordan Montgomery and Blake Snell last year. Snell obviously rebounded eventually, but it took a while. Any thoughts on Pivetta's market as, really getting close to being under the gun here?
Yeah, Pivetta, he has maintained like good interest throughout the entire offseason here. And I would not be surprised if he ended up getting a multi-year deal. The qualifying offer is absolutely something that has impacted him. I know there was a lot of people behind the scenes who thought he would be a candidate to accept it, but he ended up declining it and remained in free agency. This isn't necessarily me connecting them to Pivetta, but I know one team that is looking for starting pitchers is indeed the Cleveland Guardians. And I think they're looking for multiple starting pitchers. They obviously need some insurance here with a guy like Shane Bieber, who's not going to be ready for the start of the season. So they got to have some innings. They got to find someone to eat some innings. And I would not be surprised if they end up bringing somebody in. Again, I don't know if it's going to be Pivetta, but they are looking for some starters. Yes.
Appreciate the questions. It's the Baseball Insiders Discord and live stream when you've got people asking about Andrew Heaney, Jose Quintana, and Jacob Junis. Definitely expect movement in markets like that in the coming days as well. These pitchers who are lingering have to find home. They know the precedent is there. They've got to get into camp. These private workouts cannot simulate the spring training buildup that other pitchers have access to. So, let's get some deals signed. Anything else in your notebook as we appreciate the comments and questions and approach the official opening of camp and the start of baseball season?
No, I've got nothing nothing else to report here on my end. I am not a Hawks fan or a Hawkeyes fan, by the way. I'm just saying that because of Cooper DeJean. Yeah. But no, I've got nothing really new in the notebook. Hopefully I can drop some signings here in the next couple days. So we'll see. Keep the notifications on for those if you're interested in that. But yeah, I appreciate you, Adam, for doing the show with me. And I also want to give a shout out to our lovely producer, Joanne, who is back after doing Super Bowl stuff. She was very busy. She was working her butt off, as she always does. So we appreciate her for being back and joining us today. Should we do this again on Wednesday, Adam? What do you think?
I think we should, at which point you'll be recovered from your birthday celebrations at least slightly. Probably not at all. I mean, Super Bowl into your birthday, that's that's a double whammy if I've ever heard one. That's arguably not nice to you.
No, and plus Waste Management Open was here too. That's just an absolute nightmare of like a 5-day stretch. One of my buddies, Josh, he went like 3 days in a row to Waste Management, and And he also had his birthday in the middle of that too. So he's a hurting soul today. I can confidently report that. So Josh, you got a shout out of the pod. So good job.
There you go. Good job. Yeah, let's go ahead and do this again on Wednesday, 1 o'clock Eastern. We'll see everybody back here. Join us in the Discord in the meantime. Shout out to Joanne coming back after Super Bowl week. Shout out to the Eagles, Jalen Hurts riding roller coasters in Disney World after Super Bowl week as well. Everybody celebrates in their own way. Some people get a Main Street parade. Other people produce a podcast, and we are very thankful for that as well. For Robert Murray, I'm Adam Weinrib. A begrudging, reluctant, but also celebratory Go Birds. And we'll see everybody back here on Wednesday.
That we will. Thank you, everybody. Go Birds.